I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. What a beautiful weather we've had the last couple days. I'm excited about that. Before we get started, at every council meeting, we usually give each council member a chance to open up with a prayer. And I drew the short straw this week, so if you don't mind, would you please take a stand and we'll go to the Lord in prayer. Lord, we just want to come before you for just a few minutes and just say thank you for all you've done. You know, and as I read your word in Romans 13, you make the comment and you said that everyone who's elected, every governing authority person, not just this state or this parish, but this country and this world, there's no one in authority or in power that hasn't been given that power from you. So we're not here by our own decision. We're really not here by necessarily the vote of the people. In the big picture, we're placed here by you. A perfect God puts us in these positions. And as legislators, we do the best we can to pass laws, but we're passing laws made by imperfect and mortal people. Though our position might be ordained by you, sometimes we make legislative decisions and pass laws that might be tainted by the things of human error. Help us to make our decisions and to live our life not by the law, because we don't want to be judged by the law. Help us to live our life with love and compassion, because we want to be judged by love and compassion when that day comes for us. Help us to use your Spirit to make godly decisions and godly laws. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Ms. Brandy, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. You might want to check your cell phones. Mr. Mangus, make sure you got yours off there.
Both of them are off, sir.
Okay, just kidding. Also, during this public meeting, as we have for the past 8 years, I know for a fact, if there's a specific item that you want to speak on, please raise your hand. We'll do it. I'll try to get you to the podium. If there's a whole bunch of people to talk on one item, try to not to repeat what someone else has said. And if you do come to the podium, please try to keep your comments to 3 minutes if possible. And but we'll try to give everyone a chance to weigh in if it's something that, if you have some informative information. Item 7 is adopt the minutes for the January 11th, 2024. Can we do the January 11th and the February the 8th at the same time, Ms. Sandy? Mm-hmm. I think those minutes have all been emailed out to everyone. So if everyone's okay, is there a motion to adopt a resolution to adopt the minutes? Mr. Mangus?
I move we adopt the minutes from the last 2 meetings.
All right.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Joe Erdy. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Item 8, under the Livingston Parish President's Office, Department of Finance, Council would need to approve a finance department to go out for public bids for the following. What this is for bridge material, culverts, fuel supply for self-monitoring and delivery, gabion stone, limestone, sand for regular operations, wash gravel, prisoner supplies, and RFP for pharmaceutical. And what that does, by sending this out, we get the best possible pricing, and then if the parish president needs any of this, he doesn't have to go back out for bid. It allows us to expedite things. So we do this every year. So if you're okay, is there a motion to authorize the parish president to go out for bids for these items?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Billy Taylor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Dean Coates. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Just for the record, to make sure we have a quorum, Ms. Sandy, would you call the roll to make sure everybody's here?
Mr. Coates?
Here.
Mr. Shavers?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Ms. Sandifer? Here. Mr. Erdy?
Here.
Mr. Goff?
Here.
Mr. Watts?
Here.
Mr. Mangus?
Here.
Mr. Wascom?
Here. Pardon me for that. Sometimes I jump ahead and I don't know how I skipped the roll call. Let's, before we get to item 9, we've got 4 items on addendum. Let's jump down to item 4, A4 addendum. This is a resolution for a temporary change of polling place to move precincts 2 and 2A located at South Live Oak Elementary to the lobby of Live Oak Middle School for the March 23rd election. Mr. Jason Harris reached out to me. They were scheduled to have their spring festival,
Arts and Crafts Festival.
Arts and Crafts. Thank you, Brian. And because of Easter, I believe, or something, they moved it up, and it's going to coincide with the election day. So what they're doing, they're moving the precinct from South Live Oak Elementary to Live Oak Middle. It's the same parking lot. Jason said he's going to have all the signs directing people where to go vote in Live Oak for that day. But according to the law, we have to approve it to let everyone know where they're supposed to go vote. So is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Ryan Shaver, second by Mr. Mangus. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Ryan. Item 9, introduction of an ordinance. Ms. Sandy, you want to read this by title?
Yes. This will be proposed ordinance 2404. Mr. Shavers, did you have a chance to look at this? I emailed it.
I did.
The public hearing will be on March 14th at 6 p.m. It's an ordinance to amend Chapter 125 Subdivision Regulations, Article 2 Studies, Section 125-21, required studies and statistical data for development, requiring traffic impact studies and drainage impact studies with the submission of planning and zoning application of 9 lots or more of the Code of Ordinances of Livingston Parish.
Mr. Shavers, you want to take just a minute and explain this, or just?
Pretty self-explanatory.
It is. It sounds to me like to keep developers from getting approved and then go and do a traffic study or drainage impact study, expending, and then find out that it wasn't good. They've already spent the money. So all we're doing is saying, if you're going to develop 20 lots or more,
9.
not
It says 20, but it should be 9.
it should be 9.
That
Okay.
that was my question. It says 20.
Okay. So we're going to make that change. We'll have that change for the.
It's right in here.
Okay.
Yeah, it was wrong when
And
it
so
was done.
basically, we're just say do the traffic drainage before we even. That way, you don't wind up spending money and not be. You'll know all. Your,
Ascension Parish does it when I talked to Jerome, and he explained the process, and it makes complete sense to do it.
motion to introduce by Mr. Shaver.
Yes,
Is there a
sir.
second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Taylor. Is there any discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Coates?
Oh, I'm sorry.
The discussion. I want to ask a couple of questions. if
I
Ryan.
didn't see your hand. I'm
That's
sorry.
all
Go
right.
ahead.
There's somebody out there too.
This is going to cost the developers. We talked about this. Anywhere from $7,000 to $15,000 ahead of time.
Yeah.
Is just, and they're waiting on our approval before they can start. Is this money going to be refundable if they get turned down? Or they, in other words, they spend money on engineering and traffic study and stuff like that. They're going to spend that money. They're going to be out that money if it gets turned down. Correct?
That's the way I understand it. And looking at it long term, I think for us, and I think for the Planning Commission, I think when they go to review the plats, I think it's very important to have all of the information, especially on a large lot subdivision. Now, look, I'm not opposed to upping the lots. When we bring it to the ordinance committee, I'm not opposed to increasing the lots, but I think giving a preliminary approval to a developer and then asking for the drainage and traffic impact studies, to me, is backwards. You should have everything you need. Even though it's preliminary, I think it's important that you have all of the information before you give any kind of approval. That's just my opinion. And again, I'm up for opening up, increasing the lots,
Yeah, I just, between the moratorium and that, we're putting a lot of pressure on our local developers, as far as spending money.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Sandifer.
I think that's just the price of doing business. It's like that in other parishes as well. They have to put up to be able to, it's the price of doing business. They know that.
And Lonnie, I want to also, I did speak to local developers in my district at least, and I got input from them, and they're kind of with us in the sense of, they understand that large-time developers come in and they just kind of, do as they please,
Right,
and
right.
it ruins their reputation. So they understand the need for it. And so, again, I'm open to increasing the lot number if need be when it gets to the ordinance committee, but I think it's important for everybody to have the information they need up front.
Come up, Mr.
I'd like to
Foster.
say, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I have the same situation in District 9 where people are, they're fooling with land and they're talking to me, and there's no guarantees that anything's going to become of this till we see where we at with the zoning and the moratorium, et cetera. So I kind of agree with Lon and everybody about the money part. They're spending money, lots of money, with the land only, not building. So that's the, like Aaron says, that's the price of, I guess, trying to do business. Is that correct?
Mr. Foster, you had,
Yes, sir. I would just like a
Weigh in.
clarification. Lee Foster, 21108 Robertson Road. I just want to clarify because I was involved in the last process. So right now, it's my understanding that when you propose a development, 9 lots or more, 20 lots or more, with improvements I'm going to use, you have your original informal meeting with the parish and the review engineer. That's to go over any concerns they have, introduce them. So a stage 1 is a tentative, it's called an ordinance. It's when the public is notified, which means it's the first time that the sign goes up and it's telling the public, like, hey, there's something coming here. As a developer, we're doing our preliminary traffic studies, drainage impact studies, because those ponds and those intersections, they are based on something. It was my understanding at that time, that gives the public the first notice. That would be a stage 2 in your ordinance. So are we saying that stage 2 is no longer, because effectively what we're saying, if it's at stage 3, which is required when traffic and drainage, the final approved study is done, where we have our list of intersections by the review engineer, have the final study, which is based on the final lot count. Are we saying that the phase 2, stage 2 preliminary plat tentative, which is the first notice to the public to see what's coming, is now going to be eliminated? So that step to notify the public is not there, because originally it was to show, hey, this is where the proposed ponds are, these are proposed layouts, to get that information to the public, so if there's something that's brought to our attention, we can do it before we go do our studies and incorporate that from outside. So I just want to understand, like, are we eliminating stage 2, which is that first public notice period for the community?
I'll get with Ms. Sandy after the meeting, and we'll have that answer at the ordinance committee Monday.
so this will be picked up in an ordinance committee?
Yes, I'd like to move it forward to the ordinance committee.
Can I say something real quick?
Ms. Sanford.
We do have a plan of rewriting our codes right now. So your questions will get answered, and we are trying, and this is part of that. That will be addressed.
Yeah, well, I hope my
We have
questions are
someone
part of
working on it.
too, so I just want to make sure that that's brought up.
So, okay, so I guess what I'm asking is, there will be an ordinance committee meeting before the next council meeting, before this ordinance gets adopted?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, then if you want to, I mean, we have a choice. We could pull this and pick it up in ordinance, or we can introduce it tonight and then let the ordinance committee meet, make any changes, and if y'all need to, takes a little longer, then we'll postpone the adoption, or if you want, or we can adopt it in 2 weeks. But I would like for it to go through the ordinance committee, just to hash it out and work out all the details.
Can it be both? Can we do both?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, to introduce it
adopt it.
Yeah,
tonight.
we'll introduce it
Yeah.
tonight, but
And then-
make sure it goes to
Yes,
the
sir.
ordinance committee before it comes back to the
Yes, sir.
council for adoption. Is everyone okay with that?
So when it comes back from the ordinance committee, it
It
will
may-
have changes.
It may
so-
be some changes in there, and
And then we
Amend it.
at least
We'll amend it.
introduced it, so, yeah.
we can amend it at that time. Is everyone fine with that?
Yes, sir.
So a motion to introduce by Mr. Shavers. Was there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Coates. Any discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes. Item 10, public hearing and adoption of LP ordinance number 24-03. Ms. Sandy, you want to read this by title?
Yep, this is proposed ordinance 2403. It's an ordinance to adopt a one-year moratorium prohibiting the consideration or submittal of preliminary plats for the residential developments in Council District 5, creating more than 3 lots to allow the adoption of a comprehensive new zoning program and development of plans for infrastructure to accommodate anticipated growth.
This is a motion, an ordinance that we introduced at the last council meeting that basically just is designated for strictly District 5. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Sandifer. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Mr. Joe Erdy. Is there any discussion? All right, we'll do it. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and declare a public hearing open. So anyone else wants to speak on this, feel free to come on up.
Okay. Chad Idrolamo, 9796 Vincent Trace, Denham Springs, Louisiana. Congratulations on y'all's win. I've been fighting some stuff for 2.5 years up here, and fresh new faces. But all I wanted to say is, at the last election, I feel like the people spoke. And everybody I know in District 5, I don't know anybody that is against a moratorium right now. Every week, there are more and more wrecks on our little side streets, Hill and Hood, on Harris Road on 16, 4H, and they got a brand new neighborhood on Hammock, 16 Hammock Road that's just being built. And the amount of traffic that is going to come just from that one is absolutely insane. I just feel like we need to slow down. I mean, it's dangerous to drive around District 5. I mean, it's...
So you're in favor of this?
Yeah, I know 1,000%, and everybody I know, and I grew up in District 5, are these developers that are building these big, huge neighborhoods, and there are some smaller ones that build there, but the work is not most of the work is not from local people. It's people coming from the outside with these big companies. I truly don't feel like it's hurting the local ones as bad, as versus the outside, but we definitely need this. It is just, it's getting dangerous just driving around 16, 4H, anywhere with these huge neighborhoods. So I hope y'all will consider this, and please vote yes for this. Thank
you,
y'all.
Mr. Giraldo. Public hearing still open. Anyone else to speak for or against this specific ordinance? None being, I'll hereby close the public hearing. Any discussion from the council on this? We have a motion by Ms. Sandifer, seconded by Mr. Coates, I believe, was it?
Erdy.
Oh, Mr. Erdy, I'm sorry. Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yeah.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes. Let's go ahead and jump down to addendum item A3. This is an introduction of an ordinance to add mobile home parks to our current moratorium that's parish-wide. Mr. Dean Coates placed this on the agenda. Mr. Coates.
All right. It came to my attention that we did not include mobile home parks on the original moratorium that we passed on January 25th. So we were trying to correct that, and I don't want to vote on it today. I decided to defer this to the ordinance committee to hash out any other issues that we might find in it, and it'll still be introduced, but we'll defer it to the ordinance committee for further
Introduce
review.
it tonight, or?
Yes, introduce it tonight.
So, okay. Is that a motion to introduce?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Second by Mr. Mangus. Any discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Well, I'll read it by title. if that's okay. This will be proposed ordinance 2405. This is an ordinance to amend LP Ordinance 24-02 adopted on January 25th, 2024 that provided for the extension of a moratorium for an additional 12 months to include mobile home parks that will prohibit the Stage 1 preliminary meeting of any applications for preliminary plat for subdivision with improvements, a subdivision without improvements, and multifamily developments, and to allow the adoption of a comprehensive new zoning program and development of plans for infrastructure to accommodate anticipated growth to include mobile home parks.
All right, we had a motion by Mr.
Public hearing will be March 14th at 6 p.m.
Public hearing March the 14th at the same night proposed to adopt that ordinance.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Ms. Sandy, can you help me out on this? What is a mobile home park? The definition of that exactly?
I have it on my desk. I have it printed
Oh, that's
out. But it's one
In
more on a
117
single-
code chapter
because
1.
my question is they have some that are the ones that are I can't remember the name, but there's one in Denham Springs, which is like Sherwood Forest or Robin. The people own the mobile homes. So it's not
Robin Hood.
Yes, thank you. Would this pertain, Mr. Coates, would this pertain to subdivisions that are developed for people that would own and not rent the homes, the mobile homes, or?
Well, that's something that, if you'd like to discuss that, we can discuss that at the ordinance committee meeting.
Right, that's the thing is,
I think the high version, if I remember correctly over all the years past, is to answer your question, no, you can actually go to the bank and purchase a mobile home on a piece of property, and that's totally separate, just like a development. A mobile home park is mobile homes that are established within a distance of each other. And I think some of the requirements now are that I believe it has to be blacktop, but also there has to be a concrete pad provided for them, etc. They can be owner operated or they can be lease space. There's multiple things, but it's all got to do with the fact that they're kind of compacted all together.
A certain number per acre. Too.
Yeah, because right now, I'm pulling numbers out of the air.
are they under R2 or they weren't under R2, and that's why you're, right?
That's correct. It's a different definition.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Right, can you say that again? One or more?
More than one.
All right.
Yeah, well, we could pick it up in the ordinance committee and if you want to, and just, because I knew it was going to take a lot of work, a lot of thought process, so I think that's good.
One of the things I want to cautious is that we're introducing ordinances tonight that are going to have a public hearing, and it's going to the ordinance committee to digest and come back with good information for this board to approve. Right. And those time frames are going to get really tight in there. In the past, it's always been just send it to the ordinance committee. They come up with an ordinance that the council is then asked to adopt based on what the ordinance committee comes up with, and then they can change it if they wish, but it gives you a little bit more time frame. I think you're going to find in the ordinance committee with these two ordinances that you're going to be in a pretty tight time crunch, not just to be able to meet, but to be able to advertise for the proper, like this is the ordinance, it's going to be advertised, you're going to have to meet, you're going to have to digest, and we're going to end up tabling it and putting it off. So anyway, just food for thought in the future. We might want to just put something out there and send it to the ordinance committee for them to bring back to the table before we actually advertise it.
Or introduce it.
Or introduce it as an ordinance. In other words, right now we're introducing an ordinance.
Correct.
We're going to have a public hearing.
Yeah.
And it hadn't.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I'd love for you to be on the ordinance committee with us so
I'll be there.
You can share.
I'll be that guy in the audience. Okay. I'm just saying, I think you're getting a pretty good time crunch problem there. I'm all about speed and get it done.
All right. Let's see here.
Do we have a vote on it?
Help me out. What number was that, Sandy?
A3, you want me to call for the vote to?
Yes, go ahead and call for the vote on that, please.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes. Item 11, adopt a resolution requesting administration to seek a grant to help fund the renovation of AMVETS Hall. Mr. Joe already placed this on the agenda.
Yes, I did. What I have is a AMVETS Hall. It used to be a post number, but it was the Erdy Kiss AMVETS Hall in the middle of the Hungarian settlement. It was built after the war around 1948 by my dad and many other Hungarian veterans. We have maintained that hall for 70-something years for functions. We're not a money-making thing. It's not a profitable thing. We have events that keep us afloat and all that. But that building is kind of going down a little bit. We need renovation, such as the walls, painting, the fence around it, the electrical, the floors, etc. We did pretty good ourselves keeping this thing up to this point right now today, but we'd like to ask for a grant so we can redo the hall and bring it more up to date with brand new whatever we need. And I'm just asking if we can just get it over to administration, for them to send it off. And I think have somebody in the audience that may want to step up too and speak. John?
Mr. Joe, you going to put that in form of a motion?
I am putting it in the
Is there
form
a
of a
second?
motion.
I'll second.
Second by Mr., who was it?
Me.
Mr. Goff. All right, you have someone, just give us your name and address and
Mindy Erdy Starkey, 25097 Blood River Road, Springfield, Louisiana, 70462. I am the Vice President of the Parthein Hungarian Settlement Cultural Association. Today I am here asking the Council to adopt a resolution to seek grant help for renovation of the Erdy Kist Amvets Post, which is used as our meeting hall. I want to give a little background of our organization. Hungarian Settlement is located between Albany and Springfield and the remnants of a rural ethnic Hungarian community that began over 120 years ago. Around the 1890s, thousands of Hungarians migrated to the United States for a better life. The Breckenridge Lumber Company had a mill in eastern Livingston Parish that provided the first jobs for the Hungarian settlers. The lumber company sold cut-over timber tracts for 20-acre sections on credit, which gave the settlers opportunities they would not have in their homeland. 3 original Hungarian settlements wrote to their friends and family, encouraged them to move here with a chance to own land. As more settlers came here, they began calling the settlement Árpád. Once the Breckenridge Lumber Company closed in 1916, the local Hungarians started practicing full-time farming, and it seemed that the Hungarians had a knack for growing strawberries, which became their primary money crop by the 1930s. By the 1935s, the Árpád community contained about 1,500 Hungarians and continued to grow. To our knowledge, the Hungarian settlement located here in Livingston Parish is the largest Hungarian settlement in the United States. After World War II, the Erdy Kist Amvets Post was constructed in honor of 2 Hungarian men who lost their lives in the war, Joseph Erdy and Andy Kish. This became the meeting place of local Hungarians that served in the armed forces. These men's purpose was to help and assist local Hungarian families in need. They held bingo games here to sustain themselves and raise money for this cause. As the older generations died off, it evolved into the Hungarian Settlement Cultural Association. And the purpose of the organization became to preserve and promote the rich Hungarian culture in this area. COVID also almost shut the organization down completely until a younger generation of Hungarians decided to revive the organization, and we came back bigger and stronger than ever. After more than 40 years, this organization is still an integral and vibrant part of our community. Every year, the first Saturday in October, we host the Harvest Dance, which exhibits dancers in an ethnic costume and reconstructs dancing from which they remember taking place in the native village. Earlier in the year, Hungarian Heritage Day honors the 75 and older Hungarians and is held at the Albany Hungarian Presbyterian Church in Hungarian Settlement. Over the years, our cultural hall has taken quite a few hits. Hurricane Katrina, the flood of 2016, and most recently, Hurricane Ida. Along with normal wear and tear over time, we are in desperate need of building renovations. We are a nonprofit and use the monies from the Harvest Dance, Heritage Day, and hall rentals just to sustain ourselves and continue to preserve the rich Hungarian heritage of our area. Any consideration that you can give us in our organization at this time would be appreciated. Thank you.
Ms. Mindy, thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Great thing. So motion to pass this to Mr. Delat and let him get his hound dogs on some grant money by Mr. Erdy, and I think it was seconded by Mr. Goff. Is that correct? Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Is there any opposed? That motion carries. Item 12, adopt a resolution to name an unnamed road located off Springfield Road, Coy Holden Road in Mr. Lonnie Watts' district. Mr. Lonnie?
Just a little community there subdivision that they implemented and
Coy Holden Road.
Yeah.
Good with that?
Yep.
Is that a motion?
Second. Second.
Seconded by Ms. Aaron Santa. For any discussion, all in favor say yes.
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 That motion carries. Item 13, adopt a resolution to name an unnamed road Mandolin Lane located off Highway 442 in Mr. Erdy's district.
Yes, I went out there and looked at it, and I believe there's 8 residents on there. And Caroline, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe everybody signed the paperwork for that, and everything is in order. And all we're looking for tonight is to put the Mandolin Lane sign up and name that street, name that road rather.
Motion by Mr. Joe Erdy. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Mangus. Most times they name roads after people. Mandolin, is that a musical instrument, or how'd they come up with that name, or do you know?
Well, I watched you play it one night.
That's right. Okay, I just didn't know. So we got a motion and a second. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? That motion carries. Item 14, authorize a third address for Bruce Terreno located at Castle Road in District 7. Mr. Goff. It's for, I think, a variance for third address. You familiar with this?
No, I'm not. I think this is,
Item 14.
yeah, I'm gonna just table this. and
You
come
wanna
back
pull
to
it for
because
tonight?
I don't remember this particular one. Is that the late? Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. Thank you. They keep us,
Defer
they keep us
this?
so straight.
That's okay.
No, I'd like to go ahead and approve this. And basically what has happened here is this gentleman, whenever they go to the thing to get at another address, he's really looking for a second address, but because there's actually two, and the property is already subdivided into 3 different pieces, but they don't have a physical map because of the 2016 flood. This is over behind Gibbon Crossing. So he doesn't have a physical map, and then the geo system with the assessors doesn't reflect it. It's not up there, but he does have a legal description stating the subdivide and everything. So he's going to continue because he's going through some things where he needs to, but he's going to continue to try to get the plat done. This was done back in the 70s, so even the engineer that was there then is not available to get it. He's went to the courthouse, he's went everywhere he needs to go to try to get a copy of the map, because they say he has to have a map, but he has a legal description. So the only recourse that he has to be able to get the power that he needs is to come to this board and ask for it. So I'd like to ask that for a
Motion by Mr. Goff to authorize the third address. Is there a second?
Mr. Chair,
Oh,
go ahead.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Sturdy. Ms.
May I
Sanders.
ask a question? How big is this piece of land?
It's 5 acres.
Oh, okay.
And it's in 3
okay.
different pieces.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
It looks a little bitty on here, but it's big, huh?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's-
thank you.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? None being, Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes. Real quick, on item 15, is anyone here for Mindy Middleton located at Satsuma Road in Council District 6? Is anyone here for that specific item? If not, Mr. Mangus asked that we pull that item from the agenda. Okay. Item 16, adopt a resolution to a waiver to subdivide the named subdivision Vincent Place located on Vincent Place Avenue, Denham Springs. Mr. Mangus, did you want to?
We do have somebody here to speak on that.
Okay, give us your name and
my name is Cody Badgeron from Alvin Fairburn Associates. This lot 50, it was part of a succession from their dad, 2 sisters. They split ownership. They both live on the property. Actually, one of the sisters' son even lives behind her house. They have deeds showing that, that they own this much, their sister owns this much. We just have to create a lot to show that division before something happens to them, and it goes to the 38 grandchildren. So we need a waiver because of named subdivision to actually create the division line of lot 50.
I get that. Is it a motion by Mr. Mangus?
Right, yes. You also said that it's like one of those subdivisions that's not really a subdivision, it's older.
No, it's a subdivision. It's been divided and so many
Right, but it's
times.
not a subdivision
it's very
like
old, yeah.
Pine Meadow or...
Correct. Yeah,
it's one of those 19...
Divided over times and not one plot.
Right.
One big plot.
And neither one of these lots would be the smallest lot in the subdivision. There's a lot smaller in there.
How many lots are in the subdivision?
And a Vincent Place? Oh, Lord.
It's a large lot. It's a large subdivision.
Yeah, I mean, some of them were like this one alone was over an acre. There's some 5 acre ones in there. Recently been subdivided last year. But yeah, they're bigger. It's not like your new 50 by 100 lots.
Is that a motion by Mr. Mangus? Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr.
Chair.
Goff.
Mr. Chair.
Discussion, Ms. Sandifer.
How big in totality is the piece, both of these
The
together?
2 parcels, one of them is .46 and the other one is .89.
And .46,
Half an acre is because this is per their deed. This is what they were deeded. It was a percentage of the lot. So it made it .46 and .89 when you did that.
okay, and you want, can we do that? Can we subdivide this 3 ways? Does it have
No,
mobile?
it's just 2 lots.
Okay, I'm sorry.
just 2.
I misunderstood. I'm
So
sorry.
the one sister, her son lives there, and I believe Livingston, you can have immediate family live on the same.
Lineal.
So
Okay, I misunderstood.
Right, yes, ma'am.
I guess for clarity, you're meeting all the other guidelines
Correct.
except for the...
Yeah,
and I think-
dividing a name subdivision.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And he also went through planning, I mean, he submitted it.
We submitted through planning and zoning, but they don't review it until we get a waiver, because if we don't get a waiver, there's no point in going to planning and zoning and approving it, so.
Do you happen to know how old Vincent Place subdivision is? When that subdivision was established, do you happen to know?
I'm gonna look at my reference map date, 1977.
1977. Okay. So I believe, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that falls back in the time when, and I think it's in that area. I just looked at something in District 5 in that area that is, the land was a big piece of land that was divided. So then becomes a subdivision because it's divided. Is that right?
Yeah, basically, as I understand it,
That's what they all
back then, that was the requirement for the governing authority, was required that you had to name any property that was subdivided. You had to give it a name. And because this council has changed that a little bit to where any named subdivision, that's where they run into the thing. And I would like for the ordinance committee to kind of dive into that and see if we can put a year on that. And saying anything from this year back, if it was a named subdivision, then they don't have to keep coming up for the waiver. Like anything from 1975 back. Because that's what's happening. When they come up here, it's a subdivision that has been in place for many, many years, and his family, or for whatever reason, it was subdivided. And they meet all the other criteria to subdivide, but they have to get that waiver because our ordinance is now, if not, we need to make sure our planner does that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, even if we approve this, once you submit it to planning and zoning, I mean, they could throw it out.
Deny it,
So,
correct.
Yeah,
If
it's not a
it doesn't meet
guarantee.
regulations through planning and zoning, they can 100% deny it and throw it out. This is strictly for a waiver to allow a division of a name.
To go to
subdivision.
planning and zoning.
To go to planning and zoning, yes.
So a motion by Mr. Mangus, second by Mr. Goff. Any more discussion?
I got one question.
30.
Is there one mailbox there, or two mailboxes, or how many?
That I don't know. I imagine there's three.
Three?
There's three houses on the
Yeah,
one
I didn't know if everything was coming as one or three separates. Okay.
No, it's separate. They have separate addresses and everything.
Yeah.
But a legal subdivision of the parcels was never done. They never had it surveyed and drew that line. So this is what we're doing, is drawing the line. But to do it and get it approved, we need a waiver to divide the subdivision there.
Okay, I was just concerned about the mailbox, et cetera, how it was set up and all,
Gotcha.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
there's 2 driveways, everything.
All right.
Coates?
Yes, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So you have 2 pieces of property here. You said that the son was living on one, is that correct?
It's one lot 50, and if you look at it...
50A or 50...
So 50A is one sister, 50B is the other sister. There's a trailer behind the house on 50B. That house, her son lives in that trailer.
Okay, so you're wanting to subdivide 50B, is that correct?
This is the subdivision. Like, this is all of 50.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, what y'all
I'm
have
tracking.
is me drawing it how it would look with a waiver approved and the map approved.
Okay.
Neither of these lots are getting smaller. This is how it would be final.
So the lots aren't getting smaller?
No.
Okay.
This is the division.
All right.
All right. We had a motion and a second. Ms. Sandy, you want to call? Any more discussion? None being, Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Artie?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes. Thank you. Item 17, adopt a resolution to add the following road for consideration to the it says 2023 priority overlay list, but I think you mean 2024. Is that correct, Mr. Lonnie? All right. That's Mr. Gene Hughes Road in your district?
Yes.
You good with that? Is that a
Yes.
motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Taylor. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? Ms. Sandifer, you had a
I
comment?
do. I do. Can I add a road from another person's district?
Are they here?
Yeah, they're here.
Have you talked to them?
Have
Have you talked to him?
Well, I think that, so it used to be in District 5, and when the districts changed, now it's in District 6, Mr. Mangus, and I know that it needs to be on the overlay list.
Which one?
Country Manor and South Point.
We're going to digest this a minute or two.
Okay, we can bring it to the next meeting. I'm sorry,
good
I
with
just
the
tried to
genre?
squeeze it in.
Country Manor, yeah. I didn't even. That's my fault.
No, it's mine.
Well, we didn't understand that South Point, and I apologize greatly to the South Point Homeowner Association. With the whole redistricting, I did not know that I had that section of South Point. So I would be, okay, I've been to Country Manor.
Motion by Ms. Sandifer to add that road, second by Mr. Mingus.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? That carries. Done. 18, board appointments, reappointment. Recreation District Number 2, Mr. Shavers. I believe you have Recreation District Number 2. Did you want to make a change or reappoint?
Yeah, so I'm going to remove Brett Beard and replace him with BJ Clark for his term to start today and end 4 years.
Of today.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll, is that a motion?
Yeah, that's it.
Do you need us to break it up in two different things? Or
Normally, it would go from the expiration date.
what is the,
He was month to month.
Expiration date would, so it
Would be
would
the
go
term.
4 years from 2023, unless our attorney says anything different. They started today.
month right now? They serve at the pleasure of the council?
Yeah, he's month to month. Starting today.
For 5 years, so it would be, we would think it'd be February 13, 2028.
2028.
Right. We would go from when the original expiration date was. Is how we've done it historically.
Wait.
good with that?
I'm good with it. Yep.
All right, motion by
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shavers, is there a second? By Mr. Lonnie Watts, any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All right, BJ Clark, right? I know BJ, he's a good guy. Item 18B, Livingston Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau Tourism Board. Mr. Shavers, I believe you don't have one on this one.
I do. I'm just going to reappoint
Okay.
Clay Parker.
Okay, motion to reappoint Mr. Clay Parker.
And can I add somebody to that? I want to remove somebody and add somebody. Right, Miss Sandy? Is that okay?
With a recommendation for
And a
somebody.
resume.
Okay.
All reappointments and appointments.
All right, well, I'll light a redder mechanism. Huh?
We'll put it on the next agenda.
Yep.
Miss Sandy, can you that term for Clay Parker would expire? Those are 3-year terms?
Yes, sir, 3
Okay.
years, so it would be
So
2027.
yes.
A motion to appoint Clay Parker. Second by Ms. Sandifer. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, and Mr. Taylor, you'll have one for the next meeting?
I'll have one for the next
Are
meeting.
you okay with that?
Yeah. I didn't know we had to have a letter of recommendation.
Okay. All right, Gravity Drainage District Number 2, Mr. Shavers, you have, it says Stanley Spillman, is that correct, or is it?
No, that's Ward 2. That's further down. This is the gravity drainage. I'm removing Chris Wascom and replacing him with Billy Brenniger. And those are 2- and 3-year terms and 4-year terms. So, Sandy, do I just... How does that...
You know which is which?
Well, I don't know when Chris was appointed.
Guess we
Where we
could
at?
start the day today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that, with doing a 4-year term. Is that because it lines out?
It's
What's
supposed
that?
to be for 4 years.
As
yeah.
long as it's supposed to be before the prior person was serving a 4-year term.
So I don't know, but it's got on here, the police jury shall appoint 2 of the commissioners for a term of 2. Hold
That's when
on.
they start out, when it's created.
That was to stagger them.
When it's created, so that we start.
Yeah, it's when it was started.
Okay.
Serve the same amount of time.
They expire
But when they
November
start to get them staggered, always get them staggered, they'll start.
I just don't know when he was appointed.
It shouldn't matter.
Okay.
It's still going to be.
So whoever
2 or
he's
3 or 4.
filling, just to take that term.
Okay.
Follow those dates.
Yep.
November
just the very
8th,
first one.
2028.
So his will be till November 2028.
Hey, Brian. 2020. So that's 4 years.
And his expression of age is 24. Let me make sure I'm clear. When they first start this organization and they have no board members, to get them as a 4-member board member, but where they're not all being replaced at the same time, the first initial set of boards, if it's 5 members, 2 of them get a 2-member board, the other ones get a 4, and then when they get renewed as 4.
Okay.
From that point forward. So it is a 4-year appointment.
Okay.
Sorry.
Motion by Mr. Shavers to remove Chris Wascom and put Billy Brenniker.
Second.
Second by Ms. Sandifer. Any more discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Item 18D, Ward 2 Water District. Mr. Shavers, you have one for that one?
Yes, I am removing Mr. Stanley Spillman from the Ward 2 Water Board. He has served on that board for 30-plus years. He's in his 80s. He's having some eyesight problems. So I'm going to give up my appointment to that board and give it to Erin and let her appoint, would be C or E.
Let's pick this up in 2 different things. First, accept the resignation for Mr.
Stanley Spillman.
Is there a motion? Second by Ms. Sandifer. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? That carries. And the next thing you want to do is take one of your appointments and give it to Ms. Sandifer. She currently has Ward 2 water in district, but you don't have an appointment.
Correct.
So and you have more than one, evidently?
I had 3, but now I'm down to 2. So
that's the generosity of a good council member. Thank you, Mr. Shavers, for doing the right thing.
Thank you, Mr. Shavers.
And you have an appointment for that position?
I do.
Who
I
is
want to appoint Chris Taylor.
Chris Taylor.
Yes.
Is he here tonight?
Yes, he is. There he is.
All right. Mr. Taylor, we're going to see if you're going to get this. Motion by Mr.
Yes.
Aaron.
By Ms. Erin Sandifer to appoint Mr. Taylor. Yes. Second by Mr. Shavers. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. That motion carries. Congratulations.
We
You
have
are
you for
now
life.
Ward 2 Water Board member.
It's an appointment that doesn't have an expiration date. I just need to say that on record. So you're in forever.
So we have knocked out 18A, and 18D, and E. All right.
Can I make one comment or recommendation possibly is Mr. Spillman is if there's some way, and I don't mind chipping in whatever we need to do, if we send him something of...
Please.
Because, I remember when they started that water district, and it is probably one of the best water districts in the parish. They do have some tough things that a lot of people go through with them, but they have been through a lot, and he's been right there for every single bit of it. So
he actually purchased my childhood house, and I've known him for many years, him and Miss Laverne, and you can't find greater people, honestly. So yes, I'm if we could.
Some gratitude.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to make him as a presentation or the council, if he could make it, we'd love to have
I could talk to him.
Let's pick up, before we jump into any more denims, let's pick up item 19. This is an introduction of an ordinance, I believe. Ms. Sandy, you want to read this by title? And what this is regarding roadway access up to the black-topped portion of L.A. Trace. Mr. Coates put this on the agenda, but since it's an introduction of an ordinance, she needs to read by title.
Okay, this will be proposed ordinance 2406. Revoking the dedication and abandoning and quitclaiming in favor of the present adjoining landowners of lots 53H1, 53H2, 53G, 53F, 53E, 53D, 53C, 53B, 53A, 55, 56, 57, 58, all of the existing LA Trace Road as listed on page 20 of the Grant Bankston list as segment number 1121, priority medium, condition 0, area 6, location LA 16, length 23,760 feet, blacktop 21,844 feet, including driveways, entrances, and shoulders, type GVL, class collector, and the 60-foot right-of-way as depicted on the map prepared by James W. Falgott, professional land surveyor, dated March 28, 2022, entitled Right-of-Way Map Showing Survey of the Establishment of the 60-Foot Road Right-of-Way from the Alex Terrio Jr. map located in Section 7, Township 9, South Range 9 East, Greensburg Land District of St. Helena Meridian, east of the Mississippi River, Livingston Parish, Louisiana, recorded with the Livingston Parish Clerk Report on March 28, 2022 as file number 1032993, Book 77, page 7, document ID 014165390002, and the public hearing will be on March the 14th at 6 p.m.
That's a long introduction of an ordinance. All right, Mr. Coach, you want to talk about this? Or you want to
Yes.
make the motion?
Okay, all right. Well, I'll make a motion that we adopt this, or introduce it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Taylor. All right, now we got a motion for this. Before we get in, did you want to say anything about it, or you want to hear the public comment on
We
this?
can hear public comment.
Is there anyone here to speak for or against this ordinance for L.A. Trace? Please raise your hand. We got a couple hands over here. If you want to come on up to the podium, if you would. If you want to. I'm not going to twist your arm. I'm not going to bite you. Give us your name and address, please.
My name is Lionel Guerin, 20638 Louisiana Trace Road in French Settlement.
Okay.
And I haven't been to the previous council meeting, so I'm not familiar with all.
That's okay.
And I brought something I'd like to read out what's going on with my particular situation.
Are you live on this road?
Yes, sir.
And it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Lionel C. Guerin. I live at 20638 Louisiana Trace Road, French Settlement, lot 66. I started off in 1990. I drove to my property. It has been my primary residence since 1994. I've always drove to my property. Around 2008, I'm not sure exactly, Mr. Don Week came out and saw us. He saw what was going on with the road. He told us that he was running for parish councilman, and he knew the parish owned the road. He said if he got elected, he would do whatever he could to get the parish to start maintaining the road. He got elected. He got in touch with us, told us to come to the parish council meeting, and he was going to bring it up. We all went to the old courthouse, 10 people, including Gus Holden. They brought it up. They discussed it, and they set a date for everybody to come back. And Gus Holden and everybody, including Gus Holden, went to every meeting till it was approved. The parish came out with dump trucks, equipment, and material. They fixed the road from the blacktop to the culvert. When they finished, they put an end of parish maintenance sign up at the culvert, and it's there, still there now at the culvert. On 1/25/2021, I went to civil court after being locked out of my property for over 6 months by Miss Cynthia James, my neighbor. When I showed up at court, Gus and Wade Holden and their lawyers were there. Miss Cynthia James and my neighbor against me. I went in front of Miss Erica Sledge, judge. I won my case and got an injunction for access to my property. The very next day, Gus and Wade Holden put up a gate across the road at their house. They let only the people they liked to pass through. Leighton Ricks came out and told Gus and Wade Holden, "This is my land, take the gate down." 2 days later, they put the gate back up. Leighton Ricks came out with a crew and the sheriff's department, took the gate and the poles down, and took the gate with him. The parish fixed the blacktop to the culvert and started maintaining the road before Gus and Wade Holden started building their homes. Now they want to make it our problem. And I appreciate y'all letting me speak.
Thank you, Mr. Guerin. Is there anyone else here to speak for or against this ordinance? Come on up, give us your name and address. And
After the public go, I can speak on it.
oh yeah. We'll.
Randy Alvin, 35893 Weiss Road, Walker, Louisiana, 70785. You know, I'm here with my cousin, Lionel. He's fought this. In case you don't know it, this went through the court of law. So, do y'all have the authority to negate that ruling? Maybe it's something for your attorney?
Well, I'll tell you this. So at any point in time, I'm very familiar with this because I was going to say this later. This road is currently the subject of litigation right now. I know Mr. Lionel had previously gone through litigation. He was successful. Another group of individuals, he was. I had the judgment. It's fine. And now we're involved in litigation again because the road is being blocked and they're not allowing the parish to go down there and maintain the road. The parish employed a surveyor to go down there and figure out. The question is this. This is what it boils down to, guys. There's a road down there, and the question is it within the public right-of-way per the servitude, or is it not? We have a survey that says that it is. Opposing counsel and their client has a survey that says that it is not. So we suggested the court appoint an independent surveyor to go down there and perform a survey, and whatever they say, whatever that road is, that's going to be what the court's going to go with. We are in the process of doing that. We had one surveyor. They took forever to tell us eventually, hey, we don't have time to do this. So then the court appointed another surveyor. His name is Tobias Ford. I believe he's from St. Francisville area. I could be mistaken. But I spoke to him in December, and he told me he was nearly done, and he should have something filed soon. I've put in some phone calls to him over the past few weeks. I haven't got a call back yet. That's all we're waiting on. So for us to do this now is going to affect this litigation that's been going on for quite some time. I don't think it's something we need to be touching.
How long ago did that order from the court came out? Or did it come out?
The surveyor?
Yes.
It's been quite some time because the first surveyor, it took a while to figure out exactly who it was because it was kind of a general name. I forgot what it's called, like Louisiana Land Surveying. And then it ended up being a organization from West Baton Rouge Parish. And that individual eventually said, we don't have time to do this. We never asked to do this. And so the court, after some other time, appointed Mr. Tobias Ford, and he went straight to work. And I've spoken to him multiple times, and just to kind of get a status update, how's it coming? But I haven't heard from him since December.
Do you know if it was a year ago or a year and a half or any
I have
kind
to
of
go back
general
and look at the file.
time frame?
I couldn't give you an exact date.
Well, the answer still, this question hadn't been answered.
So
y'all have the right to negate what the court of law says.
So what the court order, if I remember correctly, said is that, hey, you can't block them from going to their house. That's what the court order says.
Okay.
As far as what the parish can do with a parish road, at any point in time, the parish can revoke a public dedication of a roadway if the landowners, so choose.
Well,
and they can take it out of the parish maintenance system. In this particular case, I don't think they should, just because it's subject to litigation.
Well, the deal is that I wasn't there, but I understand that they have been putting material on the road and all. Did they ask y'all permission to put it on the road?
Who is they?
I'm sorry, the Holdens.
No, I believe while this is pending, the court has ordered that they do not block that road.
Okay. Second thing, if they go put that material on the road, does that make them on the road?
No, sir.
No, it's, because somebody could come out here on 63 and start filling potholes, and it's theirs. Okay? What we need to do is, first thing I see this is they got two people they're blocking out. And I see that as harassment and targeting is what they're doing to two people. They're keeping two people out. They in this room right here. They're keeping them out. Now, we said a good prayer. And if the good Lord don't talk to you about this, because I am a Christian, if he don't talk to you about this and you vote against them two people to where that they can't get to their property, I don't want to be there on the day it comes with y'all. I don't want to stand by you because I want to go to heaven. Thank y'all very much. Randy Alvin, thank y'all for giving me this time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll be back.
Is there anyone else here to speak for or against? Got one more right here. Give us your name and address, please. And
hi, I'm Angie Bourgeois of 32327 Louisiana Highway 16, and I own a lot on Louisiana Trace. And I have a packet, if we could pass that out to each one of you, if that's okay.
I don't see there's a problem.
And I don't expect you to look at the packet or go through it now. I just want you to have it for future reference so that you can see all the things that I'm outlining in this packet. But I would like to get clarification on what this ordinance is to do.
Okay,
quite hear.
I can give you that clarification. This ordinance is only to determine whether or not this road is public or private. Okay? And I agree with the statement that was made earlier. Is it in a servitude? Did the government build the road or not? Those are kind of the questions that we're looking at. Okay? The Holdens are not looking to block access to anyone up and down the road. They're just willing to maintain the road, to my understanding, is what they're looking to do.
This ordinance, I believe, revokes the servitude, actually takes it out of the parish ownership, doesn't it?
That's what this ordinance does.
That's what this ordinance does that you wrote.
Right, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
As written, this ordinance would take this road out of the parish maintenance system and out of parish ownership.
Correct. That is correct. That is correct.
So
But what
it
I'm
will
saying
become a
is,
private road, and then an individual will go back
I'm sorry.
and block it.
Go ahead.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Okay. So what the intent of this was to do was to give them access to the road that they constructed. Okay.
Give who access? The people behind it?
The Holdens.
To give them access?
Yes.
They have access.
They have access
Okay,
to it.
and so does everyone else. That's
Right.
what I'm saying.
Because
everyone has access. This is only a issue of, does the government own the road or is it their road? And they're not denying anyone access on the road.
Well, they were, and that's why it's in litigation now. And we have a court order saying that they can no longer do that until this litigation's over with. So by doing this, it was going to render the lawsuit moot, and then they'll go back and block the road again. And it's going to put all of our work and efforts to nothing.
Right.
When we're this close to getting an answer with the court that'll solve this whole problem.
Do you have an end date?
As soon as he files the survey with the court, it's done.
Well, didn't you just tell me we're this close? I mean, how close are we?
I mean, I talked to him in December, and he said, I'm almost done. So whatever that means to him. I saw Mr. Farmer's still here. He represents the Holdens in this matter, and he understands, I think we're on the same page, that whatever this court-appointed surveyor says is going to be the answer.
So if this ordinance passes,
If this ordinance as written would pass, that road would no longer be a public roadway.
and then it would be whose roadway to guard, or who would be the
It would be
gatekeeper?
privately owned and privately maintained
By?
by the landowners wherever that road exists.
So where the gravel starts, okay, the Holden's houses are houses number 3 and 4. There are houses number 1 and 2 on the gravel. They both happen to be for sale. So if I were to buy house 1 or 2, could I then block the people behind me, including the Holdens?
That road on your property would be your private driveway.
So doesn't
Now-
that make a little bit of a mess?
That's why we probably shouldn't block, we should keep the road public, I would think, so people get
Or
access
at
to
least figure it out, let the court decide if it's a public road or if it's not. Basically, is it in the right-of-way per the servitude, or was it built in the wrong spot? That's the question.
I see what you're saying.
The Holdens argue that the road was built, I believe, to the east. I don't know,
Yes.
just to the side.
Outside of the servitude.
Just to the
Correct.
side of the right-of-way.
Because erosion is not accounted for, because their plat map says that they have 100
look,
feet
and
from
I'm
the
not a
top of the
surveyor,
riverbank
and
to
so
the road.
That's why we appointed one to do it.
But they
It's either in it or it's
don't
not.
have exactly 100 feet, so they want the road moved over to give them their 100 feet back. Well, you don't get to just move a road when your property erodes. So they have less than the plat says from 1970.
And
Well,
in
and
the
I-
packet Miss Angie gave us, there is a copy of the minutes from the hearing involving Mr. Gayran that she referred to earlier. Mr. Gayran was the plaintiff, and it says the court ruled in favor of the plaintiff.
Yes.
Just to clear the record up.
Do you have the reading of the ruling?
It says the court ruled in favor as to the plaintiff. I mean, it's just a minute.
So we don't actually know what they ruled on, though.
But whatever he
I
was
have
asking
that.
for.
I have that as well. Let's see.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Sure,
while she's
Ms. Sandy,
looking for
you have a
that?
question?
The judgment says it is hereby ordered, adjudged, and decreed that Lionel Gayran's request for a preliminary injunction is granted, and that Cynthia Marie James shall be enjoined from any behavior or action that interferes with Lionel's access to his property. She shall immediately remove the chain or barrier that she placed to block this road.
When is that dated?
The minutes were from January 25th, 2021.
How long have you lived here? How long have you owned this?
I owned, what did we say? 2020.
2020. And if you cannot access your property this way, how else would you access it?
There's no other access.
So when
it's one road in and one road out.
I see. When you bought this property, was it accessible by land or was it water access only?
No, accessible by land. And it states in my deed that I have all rights, ways, privileges, advantages there to access the property.
How did you get back there before the road was put in place?
The road has always been put in place. That's what Mr. Lionel Gayran was trying to explain. He's been driving back to his property, which is well past the Holdens, since the 1990s. Well before the Holdens owned their property, well before the rest of us bought it. He has owned his property since 1990 and has always driven to his property. There are several other people who own property back there as well. Brent Didon, Cynthia James, Sam and Denise Marchand. But they allow them to cross. They pick and choose who they want to cross. There are many lots past them, and I have maps in my packet as well to show you. There are many lots and people who reside past them and who have camps past them. And like I said, there are 2 camps before them on the gravel. So therefore, I guess whoever buys the first one on the gravel gets to be the keeper of the gate. Is that how we're going to do it?
Ma'am, how many total people are blocked when the gate goes up? Every time it goes up?
If the gate goes up, we have Gina Snyder, she's here, Lionel Gayran, Brent Didon, me, Sam Marchand, Cynthia James, Mr. Hopper, that I know of.
That many people are blocked?
Yes, sir.
And they don't have another way to get there?
It's on one road in.
It's one road in and it just dead ends. Yeah.
But we're still maintaining it. The parish is still
still maintaining
Well, the
it.
parish, as part of the
I don't think
litigation,
it's your turn to speak.
Mr. Erdy, as
The
part of the
parish
litigation,
is-
the parish has attempted to go maintain it.
Okay.
And and Mr. Holden has tried to stop them from maintaining the road.
He has stopped them.
because
Every
he
time
said
they go
he
lay
believes it's his
gravel.
private road, and that's how this litigation began. So as part of until this is over with, you don't block the road. Until this is over with, parish, you don't maintain it.
Okay.
So it is, we have documents showing that
The
the road
Holdens
is
have-
in the maintenance
have
system, but we
stopped
haven't done anything to it lately
the
because
parish
we
several
can't.
times from adding and fixing the road so that we can gain access to our property. And yet they want to claim that, well, we built the road up. Well, the parish was doing it. You stopped them and decided to put fill on yourself. That's on you.
Well, that's what
My husband and I are past the end of parish maintenance.
I'm reading
So our
that.
section of the road, we do fill ourselves. We've spent over $10,000 filling from the culvert to Mr. Lionel's 4 or 5 lots. We've spent thousands of dollars maintaining the portion that is not maintained. There is a sign at the culvert, well past the Holdens, that says end of parish maintenance. I am behind that. Lionel is behind that. So we are on a private section. However, the end of parish maintenance is well past the Holdens. Even so, our part is not maintained by the parish. It is still a right-of-way for people. I can't block it so that Miss Snyder can pass. Okay, she's cackling because there is a chain up.
Okay.
There's a chain up. There are 2, Miss Snyder and Mr. Gayran have the furthest lots. Right past Mr. Gayran, the road drops off, it dips, you cannot access it. You cannot access the lots past that because the people back there on their private road haven't put the money in to build it back up.
It's gated off.
There cost there because there's no turnaround. And when people come in at night, they will get stuck. They will run into the swamp. So the chain is at Miss Snyder's camp, and the only other access is Mr. Lionel's camp. They both have keys. The Demco has keys, Rev has keys, everybody, all of our service providers have keys, and they access through it.
And there's no debate that that section is a private road. That's not a parish road.
That's not in debate.
Correct.
It is right past the end of parish maintenance. So technically, I don't think it would matter as long as if you want to block the first person who's on the private road, but we all take care of each other and everybody has access. We just don't want somebody going further in where the road drops off and it becomes dangerous and we have to pull people out of the swamp all of the time. But that chain that they're laughing about is just before Miss Snyder and Mr. Gayran's property, and that's the only two properties that you can access after that, and they all have keys to it. So do the service providers.
Is there any more discussion? Mr. Mangus.
Mr. Cascio, can you, I'm just reading this, and I'm not an attorney, but it says the court ruled in favor of the plaintiff as to a preliminary injunction. The court gave an oral ruling in open court as to the permanent injunction. The court stated that it needs to be set for a bench trial. Is that why they're doing the survey?
No, so this is a totally separate suit. This was a suit just between Mr. Gayran as the plaintiff and I believe in Miss James as the defendant.
Right, this is the 21st Judicial District Court, in front of the Judge Sledge.
The suit that the parish is involved in is a suit brought by Mr. Holden and some other individuals versus Livingston Parish government on whether or not the road is public or if it's private and if the parish can maintain it or not. And so right now we're at this stalemate where until we know, nobody touches it. He can't block it and we can't work on it until we get it figured out.
This is just an introduction.
I also in here have a map, a Google map that I got off of Google, and it's in your packet as well. And you can see that the lots that the Holdens subdivided and built their house on the road, now they want the parish to push it into the swamp because they need more front road. And if you look at this Google map...
Well, I don't want to get into the merits.
I'd like to make a substitute motion.
All right.
Just because they built their house that close to the road doesn't make the road theirs.
Okay, good. Is there anyone else on the council? I have some more people behind.
I have a couple things real quick
Okay, if
to
you'll
say.
get to those real quick.
I just wanted to say that the road was adopted by the Grant Bankston Project in 2002. 23,760 feet were adopted, including 2,100 feet of gravel. If you go from the very front of the blacktop and you drive your car and put your odometer on, you get to the culvert well past the Holdens. It's exactly 23,760 feet. It is 4.5
That was adopted
miles.
by the parish as...
That was adopted by the parish.
In the Grant Bankston book that said that's
accepted
parish
into
road.
the road maintenance system.
Okay.
Way back then. So last time we were here doing this, because we've done this several times, and we just have to keep doing it because they like to leave it open-ended so that they can come back and keep trying because y'all are new council and maybe you don't know better, or maybe we're just ignorant po folks and we don't know better.
Okay, is there anything else on this? You got something else?
Let's see, let me just make sure if there's something else. Also have a letter in there from the police jury saying that it is in the parish maintenance system.
Right. Well, the issue is, was it put in the right spot? Is it here or is it here? Yeah. It's not necessarily the length, it's just, was it in the right-of-way or was it outside the right-of-way?
But when you build your house on it, and then you want to take it over and call it your driveway.
And Mr. John, typically if you guys want to revoke a dedication and give a road back, I could care less, but because it's involved in litigation, that's the only reason I'm weighing in.
That's what you're saying.
And one more
Just want to see if there's anything we can do to not have to bring this up every time as far as, because isn't that a different case? The road is in the wrong place, or they're trying to just call it a private road at the blacktop. Are these two different things that we're talking about?
No, well, yes and no.
Right. So even if the court says, okay, the road is where it's supposed to be, they're still going to argue that it's private there. So how do we get a determination that the Grant Bankston adoption is set in stone?
I think that's going to be part of the same survey.
And then there'll be no argument of it. So I don't know what their obsession is to kick people out and not let them pass. They're one of thousands of houses I pass. They're irrelevant to me, but they're obsessed with us for some reason, and I don't understand.
And Ms. Bourgeois, your last name is?
Bourgeois.
Bourgeois, okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Holden, did you, I know you had, give us your name and address, please. And
Richard Palmer, professional address is 29821 South Magnolia, Livingston, Louisiana. I represent the interests of the Holdens and other property owners on this LA Trace map. For clarification, I concur entirely with what Mr. Cashier was saying. If the Parish Council adopts this particular ordinance, it would make the litigation moot. We would revert all of the questions of whether this was a public or private road back to the landowners. It would be up to them for private maintenance, and the parish would have no dog in the hunt any longer. This matter, this can has been kicked down the road so many times, and I can go back to 2007 and 8. This was the same issue was brought before the Parish Council. This was after Hurricane Gustav. There was a lot of deterioration to the roadway. People having difficulty getting access to the property beyond where the holders purchased their property. They were all issued $5,000 from FEMA to do their part to improve the road. None of that was done. Now they're complaining that the road isn't maintained when they had the opportunity to do this with government money. In that particular hearing, this was done, I believe it was in May of 2007, and you can go back and check the minutes on that. What it was said is that the parish said that if the residents improved this particular roadway to the parish standards, then the parish would adopt it and maintain the roadway thereafter. That was done. No other history with regard to the council was done between 2007 and 8, and then again in 2021 is when this matter came before the parish council again. The actual issue before the parish council in 2021 is whether we were going to accept this particular roadway as a parish maintained roadway. If you answer that question, what we're saying is that it was not a parish maintained roadway prior to 2021, because that resolution came before the parish council in 2021. It was tabled indefinitely. It was voted to table, not to have any further history on the matter, tabled indefinitely. So what happens, we had the litigation, the surveyor, for whatever reason, dragging their feet, is that this goes all the way back from 2007 to 2008, where there was an issue with the landowners trying to get access to the property. Well, the question is that do they have the right to cross the Holden's property to get to their property? Now, there was issues of whether or not people put up barriers or whatever to prevent. If anything was put up by the Holdens, it was put up what they deem is their private property. There's a 1975 plat that was done by Alex. Who's that? Alex. Yeah, Alex Terrio. The plat designates all of the lots within phase 1 of this particular of LA Trace, with this section that is in question here, as well as phase 2, which I think that we was talking about earlier, which is beyond the culvert in the parish maintained roadway. So the question is that on the particular plat that the Holdens relied upon in purchasing their property, it says that they have 1,000 feet from the bank of the Amite River. 100 feet from the bank of the Amite River up into the point to where a right-of-way begins, a 60-foot right-of-way. Now, the Holdens elected, so that they could have access to build their property and enjoy their property, they built their own private driveway within their own ownership property, which is designated on the plat. It's not within the 60-foot road right-of-way that would give all of the other patrons back here access to their property, which is way further down the road than the Holden's property. So the deal is the Holdens are not in a position to cut off anybody from access to their property. There's a designated right-of-way on the plat. The problem is whether or not the parish is going to take the necessary steps to develop a roadway in that designated right-of-way to give the other property owners access to their property beyond Mr. Holden. Whatever Mr. Holden is doing, and both Mr. Holden, Wade and Gus Holden, whatever they're doing within that property is well within their rights. They can do whatever they want to with their property within certain constraints. This is their property. That does not give anybody else access or the privilege to use their private driveway that they spent thousands of dollars on to develop this driveway to get to their own property. So the question is that they're saying that they want access to their property. They can have access to their property, they just can't go across a private property to be able to get access to it. When there is a designated right-of-way that's delineated in the plat from 2075 by Alex Serio. So it's there. It's up to the parish whether they want to spend the money to develop this particular roadway, or as the ordinance proposes, is it let the chips fall where they will with the private landowners and let them worry about the development and the maintenance of that particular roadway if they so choose. That's where it is. And I know it sounds confusing, but it's the same issue that has been cropped up every time that this matter has come either before the council or between Mr. Cascio and I having to deal with this in court proceedings. So, yes, there is a particular right-of-way at issue. The question is, where does that right-of-way sit? There's a disagreement as far as the landowners are concerned as to where it is. If you look at the original plat from 1975, which the plat was for the development of this particular subdivision, is that it's clear as a bell that they were not going to build their home on encroached property because they wouldn't want to have it torn down later. So in essence, what they did is that they took the 1975 plat, had another survey that was done prior to building to make sure that they were within their confined property quarters, so to speak. And with that done, it was consistent with the 1975 plat. There was no issue about it, whether or not that one didn't coincide with the other. They both were consistent. So what we're saying is that Mr. Holden is not trying to deny anybody access to the property. This is all a public maintenance question as to whether or not the private road that Mr. Holden built is subject to public use. And our position is that no, it's not. There is a right-of-way for public use. It's up to the parish to develop that if they so choose.
I have a question. So you're saying that that's a private drive, but isn't there past that same road, which I'm assuming is his driveway, isn't there a sign that says end of parish maintenance system past that?
Yes, there's also one well before the sign that's in reference here. There's when you make the last little curve on LA Trace, there's a little section of asphalt. It's about maybe 75, 100 feet long. Then it stops. Then from that particular point is where Mr. Wade Holden took that point to go perpendicular to the right-of-way into his property so that he could access the property.
That's fine.
I have a work order right here from 2019. I'm sorry, 6/13 of 19. This is a work order from DPW. It says, need no parking signs in the cul-de-sac on LA Trace at the end of parish maintenance. This is 2019.
Give us your name real quick.
Donald Holden. This is 2019. This is before Miss Bourgeois ever bought her property. We go back to 2021, we've got a work order here from DPW. This work order states, and the date on this one is 1/20/21. Install end of parish maintenance sign where the blacktop ends on LA Trace. This end of maintenance sign they're talking about that's 2,300 feet past the pavement was picked up by Charlie Watts and moved down there under the direction of Leighton Ricks. Your work order's right here. I have every work order all the way back to 1975 for LA Trace. I have provided a map to everyone here showing our thing. I also, Mr. Dean Coates, Gus Holden, and myself met with Billy Taylor with Macklin and Associates this morning at 8 a.m. He confirmed that he did not do a survey. He did nothing more than do the center line of our gravel driveway, and the language on this map was taken off that Leighton Ricks gave us on our public records request, and was hidden from our set that he did that. He is willing to concede on his survey and give in to our survey that we had done, that ours was correct. Mr. Coates can back me up on that.
That is true.
And guys, I don't know whose survey is correct. That's why it's in litigation. And
I'm giving you testimony from
right, but we're not
that
here
we
to
had
litigate this case. That's what the courthouse across the parking lot is for. These lovely people are parish council people. They aren't judges.
We never had no problem until Frog Talbot tried to help their friends buy the property a couple of years ago to get access, and we have the text from the landowner that sold Miss Bourgeois this property, and I'm going to ask for Mr. Gus Holden to come up here and read that to y'all.
I don't know the political background to all of this, obviously.
They bought the property from Daniel Bateman and Stephanie Bateman. And
give us your name and address.
Gus Holden.
Address.
20384 LA Trace. I'm going to give this to y'all. Y'all can pass it around. Y'all can read it. This statement, when they were trying to buy the property, texted me and said that he has some people that would like to look at the land and buy it, and they know that it's boat access only. That says it in the text right there, and he asked me if they could cross just to look at it, and I granted that to go look at it. And since then, these people here, I met them on the road one day before they even bought the place. I told them, I said, there's no access. You'd have to build a road through this territory, and there's a right-of-way, but it's private right-of-way, but it's a right-of-way for the landowners. And after this, they got and started action before they even bought the land to try to get the road taken in and go through our private property. And with this, we talked to them, my wife, and the other neighbor that they say is not there, Miss Carol, and she's one of the first landowners at the first house. She owns that house. She's a resident there now. She lives there. And all of this, we talked in the road, and my wife, Carol, and Miss Bourgeois talked, and they told them the same thing, that this is a private road. There's no access unless you build a road or go on your own thing. And I talked to Mitch Bourgeois and my other neighbor, Carol's husband at the time, and he was aware of it. He was told. These people knew before they even bought the property that that was private road on private property. And they also have locked out countless people past them that's got locked gates. That's blocking right away. They have built from their property back, all of them back there has built in the 60-foot right-of-way up there. The 60-foot right-of-way, they have their houses. Miss Bourgeois is trying to build a house that's not complete, but somehow has permits. But yet they're building it in the right-of-way, so future people can never be able to get past it unless they go on. Them would be private land. And let's see, just a real quick. This is what y'all. After we had a council meeting, what year was that? It's 21. We had a council meeting here, and that was on a Thursday night. Come Monday morning, 40 trucks, countless loads of limestone filled in a swamp, made a road through private land. This is all private land. Mr. Gayran likes to walk past our house doing this. This is the type person you're dealing with. You see that?
When was it filled in? When is the date that
This is Mr.
in the other
Gayran
picture?
toting a gun past our house and threatening us.
7/13 of 21 is when they dumped 153 yards of wrap on LA Trace.
The Monday after.
Nobody signed it, and this work order it says Blacktop Road. But
All right, we kind of need to keep going, y'all. We're kind of just...
She talked for quite a while. I'd like to finish what I got to say.
I'll try to wrap it up for us, guys.
If y'all would all pass that around and take a look, y'all have that copy, y'all would share it. Y'all look at that. That's my son when he was a little kid.
Brad, I have a
bought
question.
this property. I had it gravelled up. This is at the time when I was developing the property. I had gravel. I got the gravel up to the beginning of my property, and I hadn't quite finished in that first photo. You look, that right there is dirt. There is no damn road there. That is dirt. Feel free to look at it.
Guys, if I may, so the debate in the lawsuit, nobody's denying that there is a public right-of-way that goes all the way down there. The question is, where is it located? Is it here or is it here?
And we have had it surveyed by our surveyor, and then Macklin declined. Dean was there. He declined and said he's just made a printout of where the road was. That was not a survey.
But I mean, you introduce the ordinance, do whatever y'all want to do.
And also, if y'all would like to know, I was trying to be nice about this, but I was threatened by someone, sent down there and threatened, and they had a gun on them, and I was threatened and told if we didn't move and shut up and go on, that they would tear down our homes.
All right, well...
No, Leighton Ricks.
All right, hold on.
I just want to point something out, just so everybody's aware. There's not a debate on if there's a right of way. The question is where
is it? Yes.
What this ordinance would do would be get rid of the right of way, no matter where it is.
No, sir. This would be expelling the parish from being in control of our road and right-of-way. It would be a private right-of-way, and the right-of-way was established in 1975. This right-of-way is
hold on 1 second. Hold on. Either come to the podium and talk,
why will we interfere with the litigation? That's
okay. But hold on 1 second. I got a couple more people to speak real quick, Mr. Wade, and then we got to keep going here. So if
I do have a question whenever they get
go ahead,
going.
Mr. Ryan, real quick.
Hey, Brad. So this is a matter of, is it private or is it public? Correct.
Well, it's the road that's there, the existing road. Is it within the 60-foot right-of-way that is dedicated for public use, or is it out of it?
Correct.
If it's deemed to be located outside of that, then people that live beyond the holdings cannot use it. And the only way they're going to be able to access their homes via a vehicle is if the parish builds a road in that 60-foot right-of-way.
That's my question. So my question to the team here is, let's just say this turns out to not be a public access road. How can we help those people?
You have to build a road in the 60-foot right-of-way.
Okay.
But give us your name and address, please.
Carl McManus, 20376 LA Trace, and I am the first house on the private lane.
You live past the Holdens?
No, I live before them. I'm the very first house on the lane, and I live there. That's my private residence. I had to put a mailbox up, and when I went to the postmaster, they told me that I could not put it on private property on a private lane. So I have it in the cul-de-sac. I had to put my post office, my mailbox, in the cul-de-sac before the dirt lane because the post office deems that as a private road. So, also, Miss Bourgeois, I had talked to her before she had purchased the land, and I told her it didn't have any access, and I told her that people down there only could access that by boat. So both her and her husband did know that prior to purchasing the land.
Thank you. So thank you so much. And we got two more behind you.
And they all very well may be correct.
Okay.
I just would like to
come on up real quick, and we got one more. Then we're gonna.
He's already spoke, though. I don't
Okay,
really
well,
think
go
it's
ahead.
right
I'm
to
letting you
come
talk.
again. My name is
Miss
Jennifer Holden, and I live
Give your address.
20384 LA Trace Road. Now, we keep referring this to Parish Maintenance Road, Mr. Cascio. But let me clarify this. We bought this property in January of 2006. And yes, we did go to this meeting, Karen. Here's the thing.
Talk to us. Talk to us.
Like Wade just said, they had FEMA money that apparently they blew and wasted, but they did not spend it on that road. They did not get it up to the standards that the parish deems worthy. Does the parish build roads? When you build a subdivision, the subdivision has to build the road before the parish takes it into maintenance. That is protocol. So I don't know why anybody thinks this is any different. And by the way, I called many, many times before and after this said meeting trying to get the parish to come down and maintain this road because we were doing it. We were the only ones doing it. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into it. Every time I called DPW, every single time, they told me over and over, Ms. Holden, I'm sorry. That is private. You are the ones responsible for maintaining that road. There's no work orders for them coming out there and doing this road up until the bourgeois come out and had their friends help them out. So up until then, Livingston Parish did not use tax dollars to fix that road. We spent our hard-earned money on it. We spent our hours and hours and hours of labor and equipment, not Livingston Parish. So just because suddenly they bought this property all these years later, even though they knew and were told it isn't our fault, they keep deeming us as the villains, but they bought it thinking they were going to fix the system. It didn't work out for them. Now they're mad. Well, I'm sorry. We're the ones that put the hard work into it, not them. We're the ones that spent the money. And they can hate us all they want, all the way to Sunday. I don't care. But the truth is the truth, and the facts are the facts. If you don't like the facts, oh well. That's all I have to say.
All right, this will be the last time, real quick. And you have something different to say?
You're talking to me?
Go ahead, Doss.
I just want to give a rebuttal to one of the things. They keep saying I was told that I couldn't buy it. I was told by them. But I went to Planning and Commission, and I went to Public Works, and I went and got all the documentation, and I even spoke to Mr. Ricks, who all told me it is not their road. So they told me I couldn't buy it. But the parish said I could. And I asked Mr. Ricks, knowing everything that you know, would you buy this piece of property and feel comfortable that you're going to have access to that road? He said, absolutely. It's a parish road. Now, they've locked me out. Mr. Ricks took their gate down. The next time I went, the gate was gone. I went to my property, but when I went to leave, they had put the gate back up. They locked me in and wouldn't let me out, and I had to call the police to come let me out.
Ms. Bourgeois, I have a question
I have the police
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Bourgeois.
I just
have a
want
question for
you
her.
guys to understand that all 4.5 miles of LA Trace, all 4.5 miles of LA Trace, the road runs through everyone's property. The road runs through everyone's property. Everyone's property is split.
No, let's go ahead, Ms. Bourgeois. Let's go ahead and shut this down. I mean,
I get my speech.
Mr. Holden, I've already let you talk.
I get one more time.
And you know what? I can let people talk as much as I want, as many times as I want. I'm going to ask both of y'all to sit down real quick. And this, I haven't let this gentleman speak. I'm going to let him speak. Ms. Bourgeois?
Did you want to ask me before I go?
I'll have her ask you in a second if need be. Give us your name and address, please.
Cody Holden, 13625 Friendship Road, and I want to give my 3 minutes to Wade Holden.
That's the rules.
No, that ain't the rules. The rules are what the chairman said. Mr. Holden, you want to challenge me on this? Now, if you got something to say, I'll listen to it. But don't. Yes, come on up.
Reiterate.
You're going to repeat what you've already said, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Pointed out, and I'm going to add one more
When
thing.
you said reiterate.
2019, end of maintenance sign at the end of pavement, work order. 2021, signs put back up, work orders. I'm the only one down there that has a coastal permit to build a road. In my coastal permit, it says for the creation of road and alternate drainage. This cost me $2,000.
Thank you.
The question is just, where is it?
I know, I know.
One question.
Last time.
That's it. That's all I need. Are y'all aware of the law that you cannot landlock someone?
Nobody's landlocked, 60-foot right-of-way open to everybody.
That's what I pointed out earlier. If they're revoking the right-of-way, then everybody behind them gets landlocked.
They are. Thank you. Well, y'all vote will show how you
All
feel
right,
about
Ms.
it.
Okay, let's shut it down in the audience. Ms. Stanford, do you have some question?
I do. I have very simple questions. Who are you the sole landowner of that property, Ms. Bourgeois? Yeah. Owners of that property. Where do you receive your mail? Okay. Do you receive any mail at your camp? You do not. And which person in the parish, did you go through DPW, the planning department, to get this? Which parish were you exactly, which person in the parish were you referring to? One, was it somebody in the planning department? Was it former president, what's his name, Leighton Ricks? Who told you that? That you could, you referred to somebody in the parish that told you you could move forward with this, and it was not landlocked. I mean, it was so Leighton Ricks and Sam DiGirolamo. Okay, thank you.
Is there any more comments from the council? Mr. Erdy?
Yes. Do y'all have any paperwork from anybody in DPW or Leighton Ricks okaying it?
Come up to the mic so everybody can hear, so that it can get recorded. But you know what? The council members want to ask her a question, so she deserves the right to answer.
Sir?
Yes, I did. When you went to DPW or Leighton Ricks or anybody
Yes,
else,
sir.
who
I
gave
have
you
several
paperwork?
emails in that packet describing what the conversations that we had and the meetings that we had there.
Is it
In the-
describing or is it official paperwork?
It's not official paperwork. It's just correspondence that we had. Didn't that what you asked me? Did I have correspondence between them?
No, paperwork. I need that said y'all going to get that it's okay to live back there and it's going to be.
I don't need paperwork to say it's okay to live back there. It's a piece of property
No, I'm
that was
talking
for
about
sale
you
that I
said
purchased.
They were coming in to make it a parish road and all. You said Mr. Rick
I have
said that.
correspondence between myself and Mr. DiGirolamo,
Yeah.
who was building up the road, and I have emails from him stating that he was going to replace the culvert. So I do have correspondence for that from Mr. DiGirolamo.
Okay, that's what I was asking then.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I do, and I can get that to you.
Okay.
Any more questions from the council? Mr. Mangus, you had
Do you have a mortgage on the property?
I do not. It was a cash sale.
Okay, it's a cash sale because, Mr. Castro, when you have a mortgage, I know they have the whole big packet with it, and it'll say, like, the roads and the access, and on a cash sale, they don't...
It does say that as well.
Yeah, I mean, the survey provides that information on the plat when you have a cash deed.
My deed says that it says all rights, ways, privileges, and access, just like everyone else's deeds.
That's the issue. Nobody's debating whether or not there is or is not a 60-foot right-of-way. The question is the existing road that people are traveling on to get to their residences or their camps, is it within the 60-foot right-of-way or is it without? And only a surveyor can answer that. I don't know the answer.
That we need to find that.
Y'all don't know the answer.
I'd like to make a comment, and then I'd like to go back to my original substitute motion, please.
Go ahead. There hasn't been a substitute yet motion, but if you want to make one, go ahead.
Make a substitute motion.
I also would like to just also explain to you guys that if...
Hold on. Mr. Goff, did you have one?
I think I've heard everything that I need to hear. I think everybody here has heard everything they need to hear. I think everybody in the audience has heard everything they need to hear. At the end of the day, to try to explain this, and I hate to even try, but try to explain this is like a 4-lane highway. And one side of the 4 lanes is a privately owned road, and the other side is a public owned road. We own the public owned road that's not developed, is what Mr. Holden and everyone is saying. You're saying is that, that here's another access that they're blocking you off. And the court has already ruled, and we're digesting this whole thing for nothing, really. But I've been just sitting and listening. So the court has ruled to do a survey.
Yes.
An independent surveyor.
Correct.
And both parties are going to live by that.
Yes.
So if that party comes back and says that really this isn't the public road, this is the public road, and that's where the gravel that apparently we dumped, and I'd love to know if we dumped and where it's at, because that's parish owned material. But if they, because when you look at these riverbanks, it's not as simple as most people think. Sometimes your property line goes out into the river and everything else. So this council and this parish doesn't need to be in the middle of y'all's discussion. We just need to let it evolve.
Yes, sir.
Because the judge has already ruled and said, I don't know what your survey says, I don't know what your survey says, and it doesn't matter. Let's go get another one, and we're both going to live by it.
As long as there's not another ordinance passed that undoes
I need to finish. So my substitute motion is very simple, that we table this ordinance, which we have no need to be in the middle of, and that we simply recognize it as a public access right-of-way down through there somewhere. We don't know where. But there is a public servitude of right-of-way in there somewhere.
On the existing road until the judge says otherwise.
No, ma'am.
We can't interfere with that either.
We can't do any of that because we don't own that piece of property. We don't own that piece of property.
I'm just saying we still have access through the road that is there.
Well,
That's what the judge has already ruled, yes.
Yeah,
So get yourself to the motion, Ricky.
The judge has already ruled to those standards. So we just need to let this sit and let the survey finish, and then we have to decide if it is a private road, and that road belongs to Mr. Holden and them. It's his driveway, ma'am. It's not a public road anymore.
That's correct.
Next thing I want to know is, did we dump a whole bunch of money, 500 loads, onto a private road? And what are we going to do? Can we work out some arrangements where we bring it into the same, or do we build another road? I don't want to talk about it. I really don't want to talk about it. So my substitute motion is simply that we table this issue and recognize that there is a public servitude right-of-way road.
Wait for court litigation?
Just table it, move on. Yeah, wait for the court.
Wait for court litigation?
That's fine.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Lonnie Watts.
I just want to point out one more thing. When you look at the maps, the two roads that were originally drawn in for the subdivisions, this was a failed subdivision in the back. The two roads do not even meet. The one is 60-foot top bank of the river where they all built their camps all the way up to our phase. And then at our phase, it's 100 feet back. The two roads are 40 foot apart. They cannot even touch each other.
We'll let that, maybe we'll let the survey will tell us that for sure then.
I don't know who's right. Wait for the survey.
Go ahead, you got it.
I just want to make an amendment. Mr. Cascio, can you, since it sounds like you reached out to this gentleman.
Get it up to your mic, John.
It sounds like you reached out to this gentleman with the survey. Can you do it again? If possibly write a letter to tell him to get himself in gear?
I would love for him to be finished with it.
Yes. I think everybody would like that.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Ricky, would you make that part of your substitute?
Sure.
All right. So we got a motion by Mr. Goff, seconded by Mr. Lonnie Watts. Any more discussion with the council?
Yes.
Mr. Coates.
Okay. I think that y'all need to consider something here, and I know that y'all understand this as well, but these people put time and effort, money into building a road. I do have, and I know that Mr. Cassie has already stated something on this, but I do have a map right here of a survey in 2022 that clearly shows this road is not on that servitude. Clearly shows that. If it didn't, I wouldn't have brought this up.
Well, how come he's got a survey that says it is?
Because he's got, is your survey from Macklin Taylor?
There's that one, and there's also some older ones which show where it is as well.
Okay.
Obviously, I didn't bring them with me.
Right.
The
wasn't
judge
planning on
said,
litigating it,
independent survey, that's the one we're
Yeah,
talking
like,
about.
so let's
Doesn't matter
before
what
it
you
comes
got,
back and
doesn't
he
matter what
says-
he's got.
Yeah.
You got
it's what the
something?
judge said.
Okay, let's go ahead and call for the vote for the substitute motion to hold off on Dean's motion and wait for the attorney to meet with the.
I hope he answers as soon as that. To
Right,
me, look,
right.
it either is or it isn't, and whatever
Okay.
it is, that's what it is. That's
All right, Ms. Sandy, you want to
But
call?
I'd just like to say one more thing before we do
Sure.
that. You know, the whole point of this is to protect citizens' rights and not have an overreaching government in this dadgum parish. You know, if someone's built a dadgum road and you have stuff showing that it's out of servitude, then that's their dadgum road. That's their driveway or whatever the case may be.
Their driveway.
So true.
All right, Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote, please?
Say what the motion is, the substitute.
Sure. The motion. Let me clarify what the motion is.
Read it out, please.
Ricky, can you repeat your motion?
Substitute motion is that we table the ordinance that's on the table
motion that's on the
tonight,
table.
that we recognize
hold
that
on,
it is
we're
a
done.
public access, servitude, public road, and that we ask the attorney to send letters, email, write,
Expedite
expedite,
legal-
whatever it needs
Light a
to
fire.
do to get the survey
Whatever
completed.
Feliciana he's in.
You got that, Sandy?
Find out.
You good with that?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and call for the vote for Ricky Goff's motion.
Mr. Coates?
No.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
No.
Ms. Sandifer?
No.
Mr. Erdy?
No.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Wascom?
Yes.
Substitute.
All right. Next item on the agenda. We have item A2. This is a motion or a resolution. Well, actually, it's put on the agenda to go into executive session for the purpose of considering a settlement in the following identified lawsuits. That's Livingston Parish Council, or Livingston Parish District 5, Concerned Citizens versus Leighton Ricks, Parish President and 21st Judicial District. Ms. Sandifer, place this on. You want to go into executive session, or?
Yes, I make a motion to go into executive session and invite Mr. Delat as well.
A motion to go into executive session to discuss litigation lawsuit with District 5. Is there a
Mr.
second?
Delat, and also I need to invite Mr. Irving into
Mr.
that
Irving as well. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Ron Shavers.
Assuming our attorney's going.
Pardon? Yeah. All in favor say yes?
Yes.
Any opposed?
Channel 17, proudly serving the Florida parishes.
We return back to the agenda.
We've got a motion by Mr. Ricky Goff to come back into regular session. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Joe Erdy. All in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? All right. I want to let everyone know we did go to executive session. We took no action in executive session, and we dealing with pending litigation, and I think there may be a desire from some of the council members to offer some kind of motion if there is. Does anyone have any motion you'd like to make based off of the facts we learned in executive session?
I'd like to make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Billy Taylor.
I would like to authorize Mr. Randy Delat to settle this
Pending litigation.
pending litigation with using the bonding company from Mr. Leighton Ricks up to $117,000.
All right.
A second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Should have said it out loud.
Second by Ms. Erin Sandifer. Let's see.
I would like to amend.
You want a substitute motion there? Go
Substitute
ahead.
motion.
Substitute motion by Mr. John Mangus.
I would like to substitute motion that we will authorize the parish president to utilize the bonding insurance to settle the litigations, because there's 2 suits, to the maximum amount that the insurance will pay.
Whatever that is. Is there
Whatever
a second?
that is.
Is there a second for that?
And accept the settlement.
Yeah, we're settling, yes.
That's your second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr.
Yes, that's what I said, to settle
Second
both.
by Mr. Ricky Goff. You understand what?
I understand.
You good with that, Mr. Taylor?
I'm good with it.
All right, so we got a motion by Mr. Mangus, second actually by Mr. Ricky Goff. Is there anyone here to, I hereby declare a public hearing. Is anyone here to talk for or against this particular motion? None being? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Erdy?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes. All right, that item is finished.
Go back to 20.
Let's see, committee reports. Mr. Mangus, I believe you had a finance committee meeting.
Yes, we had a finance committee meeting held today at 5:09, and sorry, and it was in presence was Mr. Erdy and Mr. Watts. We got some clarification from Mr. McMorris as to the legal fees, and to the we met with before the meeting with Mr. Scott Perilou, the district attorney, and he explained some of the legal fees, and we think it resulted in a savings for the parish.
All right, thank you. Ordinance committee, Mr. Coach, y'all hadn't met yet, have you? Do you have
No, we
one?
haven't met yet. Our first meeting will be this coming Monday, the 26th, at 1800 hours or 6 p.m. at the council chambers.
All right.
6 or
Mr.
5.
Cascio, did you have any kind of report?
No, sir. Good night.
None being? All right.
That's your report?
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
By Mr. Ryan Shavers. Second by Mr. Lonnie Watts. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. I declare this meeting adjourned.